Hey everybody, this is Pooka, and I'm back with another game I played on the Pokemon trading card game online. So, this time around I get paired up with someone with the screen name ACurry. It's actually Aaron Curry, player from Florida. He's qualified for Worlds a few times. Very solid player. And as you can see, he mulliganed a Tyranitar, and I am playing a Mew Gengar deck. Now, what does this mean? It means I'm probably in trouble. Once they get a Tyranitar out with a Special Dark and 2 energy, a Power Claw from Tyranitar Prime will actually knock out every single one of my Pokemon in one hit. So I have that to look forward to. Basically I have to hope he doesn't get a quick Tyranitar. If he does, I'm going to be in trouble. So one of the other big things is right off the bat, he got to go first. One of the biggest parts of the Mew Gengar deck is actually going first. You know, if you can go first and see off for a Gengar, you know, you can hurl into darkness their evolutions before they're able to play them. And, you know, if that were the case, maybe I could snag a Tyranitar out of his hand and ruin his day. But he's going to go first. He's going to be able to evolve before I get to hurl into darkness. So, you know, maybe he'll have a chance to get a Tyranitar or a Pupitar into play before I really can do anything about it. And it's going to be an uphill battle. So, right off the bat, we just exchanged some words. He said Tyranitar is going to take down another Gengar. And here we go. This is what I did not want to see. Turn 2, Tyranitar with a Special Dark, a double colorless, and wow. What am I gonna do now? So he could take the knockout, but he knows I play a lot of twins, so probably thinks it's best just to pass. And you know, I can't blame him. Who knows? I could have a twins, but at the same time, look at the deck I'm using. It's a Mew Gengar deck. If he simply used Power Claw over and over and over, he would probably take 6 prizes in a row. I would lose. So here, I'm just trying to find a way out. It's not very often, turn 2, you're thinking, well, how do I win? What can I actually do to get past this Tyranitar? So right now I'm actually at a loss. I have no idea what to do. There's a 160 hit point Tyranitar in front of me. He has a 4-card hand. I'm going to be getting knocked out every single turn by a Power Claw if he decides to go that route. Or even another Darkness Howl would knock out one Pokemon, put 2 more in range of being knocked out. So what exactly am I supposed to do here? So we start off slowly, cheering for 3, trying to get an energy, and I fail. So now I'm in an even worse spot. I wanted an energy, and he's saying I'm finally going to get a win against you. I can't even attach and prepare for next turn. All I have is an energy on that Mew, and well, all I can do is hurl into darkness. Which, you know, he played a Junk Arm and then he took it back. So that's going to make me think he doesn't actually have a Pokemon in his hand. But maybe he has a supporter. Who knows? So I'm going to retreat to Smeargle and Portrait. Take a look at his hand. And let's see what he's got. He's got 2 twins, a Black Belt, and a Junk Arm. Okay. So nothing I can use. I can't attach. And he's just saying this game's going to make up for the time I 7-0'd him. Took 7 prizes with Rayquaza Deoxys Legend. And I'm asking him to let me use twins because I could use that right now. And he says no thanks. So I'm just going to end my turn. So we do talk quite a bit during this game. I'm friends with Aaron, so it's all friendly for the most part. So now there's not much Aaron can do to really screw it up at this point. If he just keeps attacking, I'm probably going to lose. Now, it's interesting to note he doesn't have anything in his hand beyond the first Tyranitar. So, if I were able to somehow take this thing down, he doesn't really have many more options. And as we can see here, he actually played a junk arm to discard his 2 twins, which allowed him to prevent me from using it. And, you know, it's going to set me back. But as you can see, I got kind of lucky. His prize was a twins. So, I get to copy that twins using Portrait. Get to search my deck for any 2 cards. And my original thought was maybe I can Portrait that black belt that's in his hand, and then use Smeargle's Tail Wrap to hit Tyranitar for 60 damage. It would be 20 from a Tail Wrap. I'd need 1 out of 2 heads, plus 40 from the black belt, and then use Jirachi's Time Hollow to de-evolve it back down to Larvitar. And then maybe I can knock this thing out. But I don't know if I can get it powered up in time. So plan B is going to be Haunter. So what does Haunter do? Well, for 2 colorless, puts the defending Pokemon to sleep and poisons it. So that's going to be my plan. I'm going to try to put him to sleep and eventually get him to 6 damage counters and then de-evolve with Jirachi. That's my grand plan. Yeah. So there's not a whole lot I can do against this Tyranitar. Basically, I'm just struggling to find a way out. If I keep using Mew or Gengar to hurl into darkness, I'm just going to get knocked out over and over and over. And he's saying, I discarded 2 twins with Junk Arm that I got it off my prize. It's pretty unlucky. And now he's saying my avatar is so nervous, he's got to take a drink of water. And all I can do is pass this turn. Hope Smeargle lives through the turn. If there's a second dark, he can Darkness Howl again, and now I'm in a world of trouble. And basically it's going to come down to Haunter here. Good old Haunter has to come to the rescue. Normally I run a Jirachi to use Stardust Song, get Psychic Energy out of the discard pile, and I follow it up with Shaman. Celebration Wind allows you to move the energy off of Jirachi onto a Gengar to kind of get some energy acceleration. But in this particular game, Shaman happens to be prized, so I actually need him to stay asleep for a turn so I can buy a turn to attach an energy to my Gengar for next turn. So you can see the Shaman is not in the deck. That's a bummer, but oh well. So my plan is going to be, and he says really, Sleep Poison. But yeah, my plan is going to be Sleep Poison this turn. Hopefully he stays asleep. And then following that, it's going to have to be Jirachi, Time Hollow, de-evolve him back down to Larvitar, and hope to knock him out. And hey, there we go, we caught a break. Tyranitar is still asleep. I'm probably not going to get knocked out this turn. It's still interesting to note that, well, he doesn't really have anything else beyond this Tyranitar. And he still doesn't have another bench Pokemon even. So, you know, at this point, I brought that crucial turn. I'll be able to, I guess, use Curse Drop with Gengar, and that'll put 4 more damage counters on the Tyranitar. And then I can follow it up with a nice Time Hollow from Jirachi. Maybe it'll get me the win. So, I don't think there's a better plan at this point. That's about all I can do. Curse Drop, put 4 damage counters on Tyranitar, and if he doesn't have another basic, I could just win the game. So I'm down 3 prizes, but oh, there we go. So yeah, that's also an option. There's a max potion, and I'm back to square one. But it looks like he didn't have anything beyond that max potion, so I'm still kind of in the same spot. He just delayed it a turn. So I'm actually feeling like, wait, I might win? What's going on? So, yeah, once again, I Sage. I don't have an energy, so I'm really hurting myself by not getting these energy drops. But at this point, I should be okay. So I'm going to Curse Drop again. Poison's going to put him at 60. And he says, what's a guy got to do to get a basic around here? If he doesn't have one here, I think I can win with Gengar against Tyranitar. But now we see a Sage's training, so he must have drawn into a supporter, which is fine. He's long overdue for one. We're going to have to see, does he get a basic? Does he get a way out of this? And he discards Tyranitar, Weavile, Rare Candy. So wow, those are some pretty good cards, but those are all cards I cannot put into his Lost Zone with Hurl into Darkness now. And we see a Junk Arm. We see that annoying little glitch where if you play a card and take it back, there's a face down one that sits there for the rest of the game, so we gotta deal with that the rest of the game. So he gets back his Max Potion, discarding the Black Belt and Twins, which he most likely will never be able to use in this game again. And we see a Sneasel go down, and look at that, Darkness Howl. And still that Tyranitar is poison though, so that's actually going to be a very big deal. You know, I can just Curse Drop it for 40. The poison's going to add up, and then Jirachi's going to be able to de-evolve it with Time Hollow, and it's going to go down eventually. I know that one for a fact. So, here I actually have a strange decision to make. I know he has a Sneasel. There's a threat of a Weavile. So what does that mean? Well, if he evolves to Weavile, and he Claw Snags the Jirachi out of my hand into the discard pile, I'm going to lose the game. And now he's saying you have no right to be in this game. And TCGO is rigged, etc., etc. And so I have to actually shuffle the Jirachi into my deck just so it can't get picked off by Claw Snag. Because if it does, the game's over. I'm never taking down that Tyranitar. Literally, the only way I'm going to win is to de-evolve it and knock it out that way. I cannot do 160 damage to a Tyranitar. It's just not possible with Gengar. So here we go. I'm going to go with this plan. And I left myself with a Junk Arm as well, just in case. You know, if he didn't have Weavile, who knows? I can just communication right back. I can Junk Arm for communication, and get the Jirachi right back. So that's fine. But here we have a communication on his side, and it looks like he's probably going to get that Weavile. And if he does, he's got a decision to make. As you can see, I have quite a few cards in my hand, first of all. And beyond that, there's a Seeker in my hand. Now, what does that mean? Well, if he were to leave that Seeker in my hand, and then... Alright, so he took out the Junk Arm. That's going to be the way I get Jirachi, because I can Junk Arm for communication and then get Jirachi, de-evolve the Tyranitar. But now he's put himself at quite a risk. If I were to top deck a Jirachi here, I would win the game because I could Seeker up the Weavile, but I didn't get it. So, yeah, the big thing there was I could have played a Seeker, forced him to pick up that Weavile, and then if I had the Jirachi to de-evolve the active Tyranitar, he would have had no Pokemon on his bench, the Larvitar gets knocked out, and I win the game. So, kind of a risky play on his part, but hey, it paid off here. So now I'm going to have to really draw my Jirachi. That's all there is to it. So, I'm going to thin out my hand. I was actually preparing for a Oak's New Theory, but turns out didn't really need that. My deck was so low that Sages was actually the better way to go. And I'm going to take the communication and Junk Arm apparently. And he's saying, you dropped a Lost World and there's not even a single Pokemon in the Lost Zone. So that is true. I just kind of wanted to get rid of it. So now I'm going to communication for that Jirachi. And I actually made a fairly large mistake. I mean, it won't hurt me most of the time, but say I got 3 Tails for Stardust Song, I wouldn't be able to de-evolve him. But thankfully I get 1. I attached to that active Gengar already, which I shouldn't have done. I should have waited until I flipped for Jirachi. Fortunately, I didn't get too unlucky, and I'm going to Time Hollow that Tyranitar, and alright, we got some hope. Tyranitar is down, and now he's just left with the Weavile, another Sneasel, and he's down to 2 prizes only. Here's an Oak's New Theory. It's still quite an uphill battle, and I don't know how I'm going to win. Getting 6 Pokemon in the Lost Zone is a long ways away. If you don't know, the way the Gengar deck works is you get 6 Pokemon into your opponent's Lost Zone, and then you just declare yourself the victor by using Lost World, because that's what the Stadium card does. But it looks like I won't have that option, so... oh well. So I gotta find a different plan. So now I'm kind of thinking about what to do. I could hurl into Darkness. He didn't really play any cards from his hand after the Oak's New Theory. And a card that's really hurting me by not being with me is Mr. Mime from Call of Legends. It is in the deck, but it's prized this game. It forces both players to reveal their hands to each other, so then you can see when your opponent has Pokemon in his hand, and you can make the call whether to use Hurl into Darkness or just Curse Drop. And in this situation, I really would have liked to know which attack to use. I probably should have went with Hurl into Darkness, but I think I kind of got greedy here because I had a Seeker in my hand. I could Curse Drop the active, and then if he left it active and it didn't have another bench Pokemon, and oh, he's saying it's like my 15th Twins. And I said only my 5th. So my plan goes out the window. I got blinded by the Seeker. I thought I could Seeker up his only bench Pokemon and then knock out the Weavile to win. Actually, this turns out this would be a horrible plan. A lot of things could foil it, including him evolving to Weavile and discarding the Seeker. That would be one of them. Another one would be this Max Potion. So, pretty silly on my part. I think the correct play would have been to play the Seeker and then hurl into Darkness and get at least 1 Pokemon in the Lost Zone. Probably more, because he just shuffled that Tyranitar in. So, kind of a big mistake last turn on my part. I got blinded by the fact that I could get a cheap win with Seeker. I didn't think I'd be able to get 6 Pokemon in the Lost Zone, because let's be honest, he's down to 2 prizes. I have 0 in the Lost Zone right now, so I didn't think that was too feasible. And, you know, I probably should have went for it anyway, but here we are. Gotta get past it. Gotta find another way to win. So, now we have 2 more Larvitars on the field, and it's kind of scary. Those could evolve the Tyranitar at any time, and if they do, I gotta think I've lost the game. If he gets another Tyranitar into play, boy, it took me 4 prizes to get rid of 1. How am I ever going to get rid of a second one, especially now that my Haunter trick is in the discard pile? So, he actually sends up Larvitar, which is pretty alarming. He attacks me for 10. It's actually fine because, you know, I don't really have anything that does direct damage to an active Pokemon. I just kind of have Curse Drop, which would place 4 damage counters on stuff. So, this turn I play with the Seeker, forcing him to pick up something. And I'm going to get a peek at his hand finally. You know, if there's a Tyranitar in there, I'll gladly get rid of that. If there's a Pupitar in there, you probably would have played it already. So, probably not banking on that one too much. And I'm just going to retreat to Mew because I'm kind of afraid of a Tyranitar here. I don't want that Gengar to get knocked out. And let's see what he's got to say. Oh, I've played 14 Twins at least apparently. So, I'm going to go for a Hurl into Darkness this turn. Hopefully there's another Pokemon in addition to that Sneasel. But here we go, Hurl into Darkness. And it looks like a Sneasel, and he's got 3 supporters in his hand. So, that is likely the worst possible thing I could have seen by looking at his hand. He has no Pokemon and a bunch of supporters. So now what? If he gets another Tyranitar out, like I said, it's gonna be almost impossible for me to win. So I'm expecting him to play Oak's New Theory this turn, but I'm not too sure. He could also play Sage's Training. There's a concern that if he plays an Oak's New Theory and gets his Tyranitar, like 1 or 2 of them maybe, and doesn't have a rare candy, Those are getting hurled into the Lost Zone, and he's down a bunch of Tyranitars. So, I don't know if he wants to do that. And looks like he's playing Sage. This does two things. It lets him choose which cards he wants, because he can just get rid of the ones he doesn't want to play, or gets rid of the ones he can't play, like certain Pokemon he couldn't play. He just puts them in the discard pile, and the two cards he takes, he's going to take ones he can play. So here it looks like, okay, Rare Candy, Tyranitar, and I'm getting scared. Yikes. I didn't think I could deal with another Tyranitar, so here we are. And then a special Dark. So he actually had none of those cards at the beginning of his turn. He drew into the Rare Candy, Tyranitar, and the special Dark, all off of his top card and the Sage. And so I say Twins is training because it got him the two cards he exactly needed anyway. So a little frustrated after that. Now what am I going to do? There's just a Tyranitar staring me in the face. He can knock out anything. Well, we go to Jirachi. And, you know, start a song. We're going to de-evolve that Tyranitar and hope he doesn't have a Rare Candy. That's pretty much all I can do at this point, right? Nothing else is going to survive a Power Claw, so I just have to de-evolve him. Hope for the best. I don't want to de-evolve the Weavile, obviously, because then he just re-evolves and Claw snags me again. And he's saying he drew an attack for the first 7 turns. He's kind of complaining, but I'm saying, you know, it was a Tyranitar. Tyranitar is kind of good against my deck. So, anyway, it looks like he didn't have a way to evolve that Larvitar, which is huge. I'm going to be able to Curse Drop. I'm going to put... I think the right play here is to put all 4 damage counters onto Larvitar. Now, why would that be the case? Well, simple. If he evolves to Pupitar, I can just Curse Drop 4 more on there, and it gets knocked out. If not, I can put 2 on the Larvitar, 2 on the other Larvitar, and then set that one up for a knockout next turn. And then I'm just peachy. So, at this point, I'm trying to figure out a plan on how to actually win, and I think my best bet is to, well, run him out of Larvitars. So I'm targeting those down with Curse Drop. I'm going to try to knock them all out. That is the plan. I don't know how good of a plan it is, but that is the plan. So, you might be wondering why I'm using Mew for all of this. You know, Gengar would be a much better option because it's Catastrophe Pokemon-y. If a Pokemon gets knocked out, if your opponent's Pokemon gets knocked out, sorry, when Gengar is active, it goes into the Lost Zone. So why would I not use that instead? Well, to be honest, Gengar's got, oh, let's see, 60 hit points left, and he's weak to Dark. So what's a Pokemon that could possibly hit me for 60? And that's Sneasel. If he had a special Dark on a Sneasel and used Fury Spikes and got 2 out of 3 heads, poor Gengar would be knocked out. So that's why I'm not attacking with Gengar here. And now we're seeing a Claw Snag from him. What's he gonna take? There's a lot of stuff. There's a Switch, a Junk Arm, a Shaman, Oak's New Theory, Jaren. Honestly, whatever he takes is not too important. I would say the only thing that could potentially be important is the Junk Arm. So that's probably gonna go. And yeah, he agrees, takes a Junk Arm. So, like I was saying before, my main concern is how am I going to actually win? I don't actually have a plan on how to win besides hope he has nothing. Which, you know, what else can I do? I have no real attackers. I have 1 Pokemon in his Lost Zone. I need 5 more. I don't even know if there's 5 more Pokemon in his deck to put in the Lost Zone. And it's not looking good. So, he actually has a communication here, and he grabs Cleffa, which, you know, he's gonna be able to eke into a new hand. Hey, I mean, I'm actually fine with this. I was kind of surprised he didn't get a Pupitar, and he's saying I'll try to draw 5 Pokemon for you. But actually, I think this was his only real play. if he evolves into Pupitar, I just curse drop the Pupitar, and then if he doesn't have a Tyranitar, it gets knocked out, and he's back to where he started. So here I have a very obvious play, and that is to hurl into darkness and hopefully get some Tyranitars, because he drew into 6 cards blindly, and actually I don't know what I'm thinking, because I could knock out Larvitar. Hey, that's actually much better. If I knock out Larvitar, he cannot play any evolutions from his hand, and I can just hurl them next turn, and I get rid of a Larvitar. So, yeah. Good thing myself in the past realized this, not the stupid current self. So, right now we see another collector, and 3 Larvitars are down, so this is actually the 4th Larvitar from him. And he's running low on cards, so am I though. And, you know, it's the last Larvitar. There's actually no Tyranitars in the discard pile because, well, actually there might be one from a Sage's Training or something like that, but I haven't actually knocked out any of them because the first one I returned to his hand with Time Hollow. And let's just take a look. Yeah, there's a Tyranitar. There's a Pupitar as well, so... Alright, so 3 Larvitars, a Pupitar's in there as well. And now we see he put the Dark onto Weavile. Not sure what that's for. I guess he could feign attack a couple times. That would... actually, he could feign attack twice and knock out a Jirachi or a Mew. And if I don't have a way to heal it or pick it off the field, I'm actually going to lose. But I do have that Junk Arm, so I could get Max Potion back. That is a possibility. And now this turn, I think my play is pretty straightforward. I need to hurl into darkness and get rid of Tyranitars and make sure he just doesn't have anything. So I'm down to 1 card in my deck, but I do have some Oak's New Theories, so I'm not going to deck anytime soon. I actually decided to play a Communication. I don't think he plays anything like Mime Jr., but, you know, I'm always kind of paranoid of leaving myself at 1 card. So here I'm going to hurl into darkness, and I get that Tyranitar. So look at his hand. He has 2 rare candies, Oak's New Theory, a Special Dark, and a Junk Arm. So if I didn't hurl into darkness, he gets that Tyranitar out. I lose, and that's it. So good thing I hurled. If he top decked a Tyranitar here, I would probably lose as well. I don't see how I would avoid a loss there. So here I'm still figuring out how am I going to win. I just saw he has a bunch of rare candies and Junk Arm. I know there's at least 1 Tyranitar left in his deck. That's just, I don't think it's really possible for him to not have a Tyranitar left unless he only played 3 and 1 is his last prize. And I'm not thinking that's a possibility. So I know there's a Tyranitar I have to deal with. I don't know how to deal with it though. So he's playing a Junk Arm here. I'm not sure what for. Maybe just to thin out his deck before he gets that Oak's New Theory. He gets Catcher back. That's not too impactful. You know, there's Jirachi, there's Gengar. But actually, let's see, how much HP does Gengar have left? Actually, it has 60 left, so that could have been impactful if he catchered out Gengar. I saw the Special Dark in his hand. If he put it on Larvitar and then got a rare candy Tyranitar, he would actually just Darkness Howl and I would lose. So, kind of curious as to why he went for Jirachi here. You know, the retreat cost is not hurting me at all anymore. You know, why not give yourself that chance to win? But we'll see what he got. I don't think there's actually too many cards left in his deck. So that's also a point we have to keep in mind. My deck's at 2 cards, got to keep that in mind. And here's where my heart sinks. Oh boy, there's a Tyranitar. So this whole game, I've been just trying to hold on. I've been trying to survive. I don't really have a plan on how to win, but I'm just going to do whatever I can to stay in the game. But at this point, I actually take a look, and I realize, oh, he has 3 cards in his hand, 2 cards in his deck. What does that mean? Spooky Whirlpool. And we're gonna make him shuffle in and draw 6. And oops! He doesn't have any cards left in his deck, so we pass. And the game ends. So, after all of that, and he is not too happy about that. Can't blame him. So after all of that, the turn 2 Tyranitar, the uphill battle, you know, we were just surviving. Didn't really have a plan on how I was going to win. I was just kind of going through the motions, making sure I didn't lose, maybe figure something out along the way. And eventually, I just saw that opening and, wow, I made him run out of cards with Spiritomb. Kind of a fluky way to win, but hey, that's a way to win in Pokemon. There are more win conditions than just knocking out your opponent's Pokemon or putting them in the loss zone. It's having them run out of cards too. So, I gotta say that was kind of a unique way to win. Haven't really done that before, so that's kind of why I wanted to share the game with you. It was really close. I got a cheap win at the end, but hey, a win's a win. And that's it. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you had fun. Hope you had some oohs and ahs at the Haunter using Sleep Poison. I think Jirachi was the MVP of that game. Really kept me in it. And yeah, just hope it was fun. Leave me some feedback in the comments if you got anything to say. Got any questions? I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Please check out our new and improved website, thetopcut.net, where you can find all of our updates, anything Pokemon TCG related, in terms of media coverage and stuff like that. We're there. We're also looking for volunteers right now, so if you want to help us out, that's something that'll be greatly appreciated. But other than that, I'm going to get going for now. Thank you for watching again, and you guys take care. I will see you next time.